Hello, welcome back to my channel. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and please like my videos for more updates. So the last update about Twist of Fate. Pallavi scolds Prachi for disgracing her in front of her guest Rajeshwari, and the lawyer asks Pragya to get married to her first husband, that is Abhi, in order to save herself from shame and embarrassment. Let's continue. The lawyer advised Pragya to marry her first husband and stay with him again to save her reputation. Sushma asks, have you lost it? Are you a lawyer or a priest for suggesting her to marry her husband? She says this case is of your senior lawyer and asks him to send him, and asks if this is your legal advice. She says it seems you didn't understand the case. The lawyer says that this is the best option to save the image and the case, and says my work is to give the advice. Take it as a legal or an expert advice. It is the best. Sushma asks if this is the advice. The lawyer says that this is India and says that the trial happens in the society before the court, and the society gives everyone at the same site. The lawyer says Gaurav has attacked your image and respect, and he wants your image to be ruined, and the society thinks you wrong. She says the case will be lost before it goes to the court, and then if you call my senior or the CM, you can't win the case. He goes. Sushma asks Pragya not to go to the office today and take some rest, and she takes her with her. Abhi waits for Pragya. He hears Nehal talking to the other employees about Pragya and says if she wanted someone, then she should have called the handsome Unc, being a rich woman, and what was the need to molest Gaurav? Abhi hears him and asks, what are you saying against Pragya, ma'am? Nehal says you are a bodyguard and you did not know. He says Gauravs are told in the press conference to the media that Pragya madam had molested him. Abhi asks what nonsense and grabs his collar. Nehal asks if he will show attitude on everyone being a bodyguard and says that he is not making any news and he is telling what he saw in the news. Nehal says if he had seen the news, then you would have told the same thing. He says Pragya madam hasn't come to the office, as if she has come, then she has to hear people's taunt. He says we were just talking about it. Abhi says you are badmouthing against her. Due to her job, your house runs. He asks if he will joke against his family members too. Abhi says your boss is someone's daughter and more importantly, she is a woman and she shall be respected. He asks them to go to their cabins. Nehal says sorry and goes. Pragya thinks of Abhi. Abhi calls Pragya on the phone. Pragya looks at her phone and recalls how he had beaten Gaurav to protect her. Pragya recalls Sushma's words and she refused to pick the call. He thinks that Pragya is not picking my call and thinks that she must be very hot. Shagun comes to Pragya and says someone has come to meet you. Pragya asks her to ask Sushma to meet the person. Shagun says that Sushma went to meet Gaurav. Pragya says okay, I will meet the person. Aliyah comes to Gaurav's house and says I came to tell you why you shall give us money. Gaurav looks tensed. Aliyah asks if he is scared from within. He says come in and tells that he is not scared of her and says that he will give her money once he arranged the money and asks her to keep Tanu away from him as she talks as if she has brought him. Aliyah says that she has made a big plan and she is asking for money to execute her plan. He asks what is the plan. Aliyah says that she will tell him when he gives her money. She turns and sees Gaurav's father, Mr. Mahesh Tapa, and she asks Gaurav if he is his son. Gaurav asks, why are you shocked? Mahesh asks her to forget whatever happened. Aliyah says my life and business were ruined because of you. Mahesh says I understand how the past years were for you. Gaurav says you said that Pragya has ruined you. Aliyah says Pragya is responsible for the mental fall, but due to your papa, we have lost our business. She says the singer who had filed case on us, your father had bribed the composer, and we got many complaints on our company due to your father. She says not only this, your father has bribed our employees too. Mahesh Tapa says it is business. I couldn't see my downfall and that is why I became the reason of your real downfall. Aliyah asks why our company. Mahesh says your company was on the top and we wanted to come on the top, and this is the matter of 2 years back when our company's performance was not good in India as you were the reason, and that was why I made that rock singer filed fake case on your company, gave him money, and it was my need to ruin your company so that I can show my company's performance good. Pragya comes downstairs and sees someone standing in the dark. Tanu turns and comes in front of Pragya. Pragya recalls Tanu's taunt. She thinks if Tanu has come to laugh on me, then she will go crying from here. Aliyah comes back home and asks Mitali if she saw Tanu. Mitali says this is a small house. Even the needle is fine and you are not finding Tanu. She says there is peace here, which means that she is not here. She went wearing her favorite sari, and I asked her if she is going to become a supermodel. She said that she will change her destiny. Aliyah thinks that surely Tanu might go to get money from Gaurav, and she thinks that she has a better idea to get money from him. Mitali asks her to cut the tomatoes to make the food. Aliyah says that it is your work to make food. Pragya says if you have come to laugh at me, then it is your foolishness. Tanu asks, why do you feel that I came to laugh on you? Pragya says your face is showing it, and says you might have seen the news, and that is why you came to laugh. She says this is real Pragya, who can be worried, but not scared. She asks her to leave. Tanu says I haven't come here to laugh but to help you. Pragya says I know you really well. Tanu says if anyone knows me other than Abhi and Aliyah, then it is you. We have a good relationship as an enemy. She says I have watched the news on TV and I came to know what you are going through. She says if the case goes to court, then you will be questioned in the court. Tanu says I brought an offer for you, and to save your respect and business, I can. Pragya asks her to get out. Tanu says I came to give you your solution. Aliyah calls someone and asks if Tanu came to their house. She then asks Mitali to go to the mall and search for her if she again went to the mall. Abhi asks that what are they talking about? Mitali says Tanu is missing. Abhi asks her to search her where she could be. Aliyah says that she called Gaurav, but she is not there. She sends Mitali to search Tanu. Abhi recalls Gaurav and asks Aliyah, how did you know Gaurav? Aliyah says I don't know her. Abhi asks her not to try to lie. Tanu tells Pragya that she knows that she is trapped in the truth and a fake trap, and she says that you need someone to help you out. Pragya says I will not hold your hand even if I am drowning. Tanu asks, so what will you do? And says that the more you use your hands and legs, you will be drowned more. She says you will get the shore that can save you. Tanu says I am not asking you to hold my hand, but to hold someone else's hand. She says I came to make my husband as yours. Pragya is shocked. Tanu says I came to make my husband yours, who was once your husband. She says don't think that I am having sympathy for you, but it is not like that. She says I am doing this as nobody sympathizes with me, and says I am selling my husband. Tanu says Abhi can become your husband if you can bid the right price for him. Sushma comes there and overhears her. Tanu says you will not refuse my chance, as this is your advantage. She says this is a male-dominated society that will not let you survive here, and says the world thinks that you want a husband just for the time being. Tanu says you have to change your marital status. She says you have molested Gaurav as told by him. If you have your husband stand by you, then nobody will say anything. Pragya asks Tanu to leave and close the door. Tanu asks if she has gone mad and says you can marry Abhi if I sell him. Abhi asks Aliyah how did she know Gaurav? He asks, shall I ask Gaurav? Aliyah thinks of a story. She says the mistake is not of mine. Every one of us were betrayed so that our music company had a downfall. Abhi says, how do you know Gaurav? Aliyah says you have to hear everything to know. She says she got the clues few days back, and when she followed it, she came to know that someone conspired to ruin our music company. She says previously, I was not sure who has ruined it, but now that person confessed that he bribed the singer and the music producers and others to ruin us. Everything was snatched from us to take us down. Abhi asks who was that person. Aliyah tells Abhi that it was all a scam to snatch our everything to bring us down. Abhi asks who was he. Aliyah recalls Mr. Tapa telling her that he had ruined Aliyah's brother's company, and once the company gets closed, his career, reputation and everything ruined, and he couldn't raise up. He says our company became the top one and we became Sushma tandem partners, but if she had known what we do, then she would have break partnership with us. Gaurav tells Aliyah that he has no enmity with them, but he did that to have partnership with Sushma. He says today, Sushma wanted to ruin us and our enemies are won today, and if we unite, then the enemies will lose. Aliyah says I will get everything back from Pragya. The flashback ends. Aliyah says Pragya is the one who has ruined us and snatched our everything. She says I have the papers to prove this, and says I think the destiny is playing game with us. She says how did Marcos' company came on the top, and says that Sushma and Pragya are the partners. She says you will not believe me, but you have to agree. Aliyah says even Pragya had agreed. She knew our company name and ruined us from far. Abhi says Pragya cannot do this. Aliyah says Pragya can do this and says you never believe her. Abhi says Pragya cannot do this, but you can, and you always created misunderstandings from us. Aliyah asked him to search on the internet who has ruined them. She says I had talked to them and told that I would give them money, but Pragya bribed them and made our downfall. She says you have become our servant and everyone is separated from us and even Ria. She goes on telling against Pragya. Abhi leaves from there. Aliyah thinks that Pragya doesn't know that her partners are ruining us, just like she doesn't know that I am ruining her. Pragya says, I know Aliyah and you better, and you thought that you came to laugh at me, but you are making fun of your own marriage. She says, since I know you, you wanted to snatch him. When you have snatched him, then you wanted to sell him. Pragya says you are not valuing your marriage and you wanted to sell your husband to me. Tanu says you are talking big and talks about her bad condition after marriage and says such talks are easier when you have money. Pragya says I always values my marriage and respect it even till now. Tanu says you will repent and if you refuse then your life will change. Pragya says you don't know the way but distract me. She says I don't trust you. I don't know what you want to do by selling your husband. Tanu says I will sell Abhi and if not to you, then to others, as Abhi himself doesn't want such life. She says I thought you are understanding and you will take a wise decision. Pragya says you have your marriage and why do you need money? Tanu says it is a small offer. Why don't you buy my husband? Pragya says I have faced so much and I don't need shortcut to come out of this. Tanu asks if this is your last decision. Pragya says first. Tanu says your decision will prove costly. Pragya says I don't see profit and loss. Tanu goes. Sushma says you did right. Pragya says that she was thinking that Abhi is happy with Tanu, but here the scene is different. She says how can Tanu think of selling Abhi? Sushma says that it is their personal issue. Rambu asks Prachi why does the laptop battery is not ending and says I will break it. Prachi says 2 minutes. Rambu breaks his button. Prachi gets up and makes Rambu wear his lucky jacket. She says she doesn't have time to stitch the button now. Rambu says whenever I thought to spend time with you, you come to the room and sleep. Prachi says she gets tired. She asks him to go to the office. He says I miss you and asks her to make morning calls to him. He says I love you. Prachi says I love you too. Ria sees Rambu coming out of his room. She turns her face. Rambu tries to clarify that he got confused seeing a sari. And even you were wearing the same sari, so I thought you are Prachi. Ria says it was similar. Rambu says you will fight with Prachi as she didn't tell that you have the same similar sari. Rambu says Sonny told me that Prachi is in the kitchen. He says the mistake will never happen again and says sorry. Ria nods her head. Rambu goes from there. Ria looks upset and thinks of his word that she shall not fight with Prachi. Prachi gets Dia's call and she tells her that she did not call her as she thought that she is busy in her badminton practice. Dia says you are also busy with your husband and asks if she is fine in her husband's house. Prachi says the problem is in me as I do make mistakes often. She says I feel that I cannot keep anyone happy. Dia asks her not to talk about the end and says that it is in our hands to take out solution for many problems. Prachi says you bring happiness in everyone's life. Dia says until everything is fine, then there will be no end. Prachi asks how can you talk such positive things? Dia says by playing badminton and promote her show. Sonny calls Prachi. Prachi ends the call. Teji brings tea and offers to Pallavi. Pallavi refuses and Teji gives tea to Grandma. Prachi comes there and asks, did you call me? Grandma asks her to drink tea. Teji says Pallavi haven't called her to drink tea. Pallavi asks Prachi if she knows who are coming. Prachi says yes, she has done all the arrangements. Pallavi says I want to repeat few things. She then praises Ria for saving her reputation in front of Rageshwari. Pallavi tells Prachi that she should not repeat her mistake. Grandma says if you remind her about her mistake, then she will get afraid. Pallavi says fear is necessary as it teaches discipline. She asks her to focus on today and today is a big day than yesterday. She says, Ria, I have immense trust in you, so Sonny will be with you and help you. Pallavi tells Prachi that she has no trust in her and that is why Sonny will help only Ria. She says Ria has the desire to learn, but you. She asks, are you okay about that? Grandma says Ria doesn't know how to cook, so how will Sonny help? Pallavi says Ria has one sari and also help Rageshwari. She says that Ria has the desire to learn, which Prachi doesn't have. Grandma tells Pallavi that how can you say that? Teji says Rambi wants Prachi all the time and made her his wife, but doesn't let her become their daughter-in-law. Pallavi tells Prachi that she would handle the husband and all the house and other relationship, and she says that if he wanted to be good, then she should prove that she is suitable to be a good daughter-in-law. Thank you all for watching my videos. Please don't forget to like my videos and subscribe to this channel for more updates. Thank you.